So we're in Da Nang, Vietnam. I'm Evan A. This is JJ, the Lonely Bull in Asia, and of course, Will Travels, our most frequent guest on the Cost of Living Abroad pod. Today we're going to be talking about three of our favorite spots in Southeast Asia to live and retire. So we're going to compare Thailand versus Vietnam versus the Philippines, just because those are the three countries we're most experienced with, not because we think they're the best or the only places to live or to retire in Southeast Asia. Talk first about costs. What do you think the cost of living is, JJ, in Bangkok, in Thailand, like today in 2025?
Well, I don't have a wife or kids, so that helps a lot. I don't date a lot really there. I don't have a steady girlfriend or anything like that. So I go out to eat Western meals, once or twice a week. Eat a lot of street food, which is excellent. That's the big plus about Bangkok or Thailand. The street food is superb, and there's plenty of it, and it's cheap. So my budget's probably between $1,700 and $2,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't include any travel, like coming here or anything like that.
Yeah.
In Bangkok or in Da Nang?
How about in the Da Nang or in the Philippines? How about your experience when you lived in the Philippines with Luffy? So Will is living in Vietnam now, but with his girlfriend partner he met in the Philippines.
So I didn't spend too much time in the Philippines, but the Philippines is definitely more expensive than Da Nang. We were able to do about 2.5 months in Cebu, and it was probably right around $1,100, but we did have a 2-bedroom condo, and it was a little bit further from IT Park. We were down by SM Seaside, I think it's called, the mall. So we were down there, but Da Nang is much cheaper. Like Evan was mentioning, the value of Da Nang is much better. I could do it realistically if I was by myself for under $700. I don't drink, I don't go to clubs, I don't spend too much money on that aspect. But I would say, just as a simple answer for a single guy out here, shoot for right around $1,000, probably a little bit under, and you're probably pretty good as long as you don't have any vices.
I could add something to the Philippines because I lived in BGC for 3 years, Bonifacio Global City. So that's probably the most expensive area in the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
When I first moved there, I was working for an American company, making American money. I was balling. I was spending probably $3,000 or $4,000 a month. Just going out a lot, eating Western food, steak dinners, going to clubs in Makati. Then when I retired, that lifestyle changed a little bit. But I was probably that first year after retirement, it was about $1,600 a month average.
Why don't we get into dating? Everybody always wants to know about dating. Will, why don't you tell us about your dating in the Philippines, and then maybe I'll talk a little bit about my experience of dating and then getting married here, and then JJ can tell us about what it's been like as a retired guy.
Well, I currently have a girlfriend I have for the past 2+ years. When I first came out to the Philippines, 2019, the dating scene is a lot easier in the Philippines, just because of the simple fact there's a lot more English. It's a more Western culture than out here. This is more of an Eastern culture, language barrier, so you're gonna have issues with that. But as of now, like I said, I've had a girlfriend for the past 2 years, so for me, it's very simple because I have a girlfriend and everything like that. But advice to the guys, it is going to be a lot easier in the Philippines just because you can communicate with women better. They have English. It's more Western culture. They watch Western style movies. They like Western culture, music. Out here, you're going to have more of the Eastern culture, probably not as much as like a China or Japan, but it's definitely going to be a little barrier for people that can't speak Vietnamese or only speak English.
Well, how did you meet Fluffy? I don't know. Tell us the love story, man.
I've told it on the live stream many times. Very simple. So we just met on regular online, and then I kind of an interesting story because I was going to head out to the Philippines right after Bangkok. I landed in Bangkok back in 2022. And then this is actually how I enjoyed staying in Bangkok. Was I went to Bangkok early 2019, and I didn't really care for it. And I'm not gonna say I didn't care for it, but it didn't really register on the high up list in 2019. But I came back there in 2022, and right before I was going to fly out to the Philippines, this is the time that you had to go take COVID test to go to the Philippines. So basically, I took a COVID test and I went back to my hotel. I think I went and ate dinner. And then I got an email from Bangkok and they're like, yeah, you got COVID. And I was like, what? I was like, what? I feel perfectly fine. So then I had to stay for over 2 weeks in Bangkok because you couldn't get on the flight. And even if you were fine, it was still in your system because you had to go retest. So I ended up staying about 3.5, almost 4 weeks in Bangkok. And I stayed in Sukhumvit. And I ended up enjoying Bangkok. So then I met up with Fluffy in the Philippines. We came back to Bangkok. We stayed there for 8 months. And then that's how we found Da Nang. But basically, I probably wouldn't be that big on Bangkok if I wouldn't have got COVID. And we kind of enjoyed it like that. But I don't know. That's kind of the things.
Thank you.
That's kind of like how stuff happens out to me, is like accidentally or in a bad situation. And that's why I kind of believe everything happens for a reason.
Serendipity, faith, man. And that's exactly why I would use an online service like Christian Filipina to start a new long-term and meaningful relationship. Like if I was in the same place you are, or I was 5 years ago, especially if you want someone who shares your values, right? Because Christian Filipina isn't just another dating site. Like Will said earlier, dating really is easier in the Philippines. You don't have those same cultural or language barriers like you guys and I find when we're in Vietnam or maybe in Thailand. So you get that deeper sense of shared Western values, the same kind of outlook. And a lot of guys like me think about faith, that being a front and center part of the dynamic for a good relationship or a happy long-term commitment and a marriage. And again, that's exactly what makes Christian Filipina different. It's the best option if you want like a serious faith-focused relationship. If you're in the spot you and I were in years ago, or like JJ is in right now, or any of the single guys watching at home, it's gonna be easier and you're gonna find someone genuine, sincere, and honest and grounded in the same beliefs as you, unlike a lot of the sort of terrible transactional stuff that happens on the bad apps or in Thailand, Southeast Asia in general. So before I tell you guys the story of how I met my wife here in Vietnam, now is probably a good time to mention that there is an affiliate link below for Christian Filipina, and I highly recommend using that service if you're looking to date someone with similar faith or commitment ideals to yourself. Man. Yeah, so I met my wife. I'll just do a quick breakdown of it, but it was so simple. Like I was coming off of basically a separation, a common law divorce, split at home, about a decade, and you know, the full reset, right? Coming to Southeast Asia for the full reset. I'd lived abroad with that ex before, and then I got here and it was like, I was 35, 36, single for the first time since I was 25, basically. You know, full disaster. All the dating apps for the first time. It was like a waterfall of like everything, like bad age gaps, broken language. Like I did everything wrong you could possibly do. You know, for the brief few months I was trying it, my monthly budget tripled, right? All of a sudden I was spending $1,500 a month paying for dinners and dates and all that. And then finally a coworker looked at my profiles that I made and was like, a female coworker, I should say, like an adult Canadian woman. And she's like, the hell is wrong with you? Get rid of these topless photos at the gym and like you at the beach. Put on a respectable looking photo of you at work with your glasses on where you're clearly an employed human. Fix the profile so you're looking for, you know, 29 to 35-year-old women, and then change it to your area code. And I swear to God, I met my wife in like 2 weeks after.
I will say that when I first moved to the Philippines, you know, and making good money,
yeah.
I was playing the game like you know, and going out to the clubs, and I had a lot of dates, a lot of girlfriends, you know, short term, you know, like a month or two at a time, you know, and then I move on to somebody else, you know, and so for that year and a half, it was fun, and I will tell you, the age gap in the Philippines is probably greater than any country that I know. I mean, I have friends that are my age, you know, in their 60s, that date 20-year-old Filipinos.
It's pretty common here. I don't know if it's that extreme. I think one of the reasons why it's so common in Vietnam is that even though it's traditional, it's really common for like a 50-year-old guy here to marry a 20-year-old. Like Vietnamese marrying Vietnamese, right? Like a 20 or 30-year age gap in Vietnam, totally normal. I think in Korea too. You see that very common here.
It's more so in the Philippines.
Yeah.
And that makes, the dating pool is just that much deeper. So
Right.
it's really easy to date in the Philippines. Thailand, not so much. Vietnam, not so much. I found out that in Thailand, as opposed to the Philippines is like you get on a dating site and you're meeting them that evening.
Yeah.
And you're out on dates, and then it's like, oh, you're my boyfriend now. It's just like that. In Thailand, they'll meet you, but that second date's tough because they want to make sure you actually live in where you say you do. They're not interested in holiday boyfriends.
Yeah.
Where in the Philippines, they'll date you, they'll be your girlfriend with the hope that you'll either stay there or come back.
Or they're just, or maybe more casual relationships are more culturally acceptable.
Yeah, it's a little more transactional there.
That's true here too. That the big one I think is the do you live here? Are you just passing through?
That's the first thing I get when I start messaging a girl in Thailand or here in Vietnam is how long are you staying?
Yeah. Yes.
It's like, well, I live here. Really?
Yeah, for sure. It's a screener, and you can't. I mean, understandable, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And the age gap isn't as great, which is fine with me because. I don't like dating anybody under, that age in that age group anyway. I just have nothing in common. So
I mean, I found that even when I was just in my late 30s, that there's definitely a cutoff, where like someone younger than say 26, like how about someone who's still in college. If you're still in college and like not having a working adult life, it's just really hard to relate, right? It's really hard to like. Because they're like, what did you do? And they're like, my homework. Right. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I just can't relate to you. Like, or living at home is a big one in Asia too, right?
Yeah, I have friends that date young girls in their 20s, and I say, why do you date? Oh, because they're so beautiful. Well, go to Thailand. Yeah, there's 50-year-old women in Thailand that look like they're 25. Here in Vietnam, same thing. I mean, they age so well here.
People take care of themselves too. Yeah, and I think there's almost drinking is extremely common among men in Vietnam. They drink a huge amount of alcohol statistically, especially beer, but it's really an older guy thing, like the uncles and fathers, right?
And the smoking.
And women, almost none of them drink any alcohol. They don't smoke very much. They tend to be very well kept, and the aging thing, they also stay out of the sun, right? People avoid the sun here like the plague. So I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about, where you're guessing sometimes, I think, whether a woman is in her 30s, 40s, 50s here.
Know. And if you're on a dating site and you see their pictures, it's got to be filtered. And then you meet them, it's like, oh no, it wasn't filtered. That was actually what
perfect
they look
complexions,
like.
right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
One of my big concerns when I got here, one of everyone's, is just healthcare. I was lucky that I had health insurance from work that ended up covering most things. But then sometimes anything under $100 or so, maybe it's often not worth it to even report it to your healthcare. So, the big things I've had here, I actually just made a video about this, my biggest fears in Vietnam. So I can link that, but it's like the motorbike crash and dog bite, which for me happened at the same time because a dog bit me and then I crashed the motorbike. And then I got dengue fever, which everyone worries about, which is terrible, but not as terrible as some of the stories I've heard with people's eyes bleeding.
Did you have to be hospitalized for that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. So, okay, I'll break into it. So I basically, it's so funny. I had a weekend away with coworkers and friends. They were a bit younger than me. I was in my 30s, they were in their 20s. And we were partying, and I kind of like woke up the next day with chills and was like, oof. I think I'm out, guys, and they're all teasing me. They're like, you old man, you're pathetic, you're not dead yet. Shake it off, jump in the pool, have another beer. And so I did. And then we drove out to some temple, and it started raining at the temple. So the temperature dropped really quickly, and I was shivering, and they were like, Evan, bro, why are you shivering? It's 25 degrees out. And I was like, I don't know, man, let's just go back to the hotel. I went to the hotel, cocooned in a mattress or in a duvet. Back to the city, the ride to the city, back to Ho Chi Minh City the next day, I had a full sleeping bag and all the jackets piled on me. And they're like, what's wrong with you, buddy? But what we all thought, because I turned really red, we thought I was sunburned. So we thought, and it was perfectly, logically, it all made sense, right? Oh, you spent the whole day drinking by the pool, partying,
Too much sun.
woke up the next day, too much sun, too much alcohol. So I went to work on Monday, not wanting to use one of my 10 sick days. And so I can't remember who, someone found me and I was like curled up in a ball under my desk, like between classes or whatever, my spare, I'd caught like just like cocooned under my desk. And someone was like, whoa, you're not okay, buddy. Let's get you to a doctor. And the second I walked in, so obviously I'm paler than local people, I had a red face, but I had a red, like an eagle on my chest, right? You know, that like classic shape, like coming out. And I walked in and the doctor didn't speak English, but the first word he said was dengue. He just pointed right at me and said, oh, dengue.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, okay. But they can't really do anything, right? There are some vaccines that you can take. There's a vaccine you can get if, like me, you've had it once. And there's another one I think you can get that's very expensive, but you can get now if you've never had it. Might be worth it.
Well, I heard there's different strains too.
Yeah.
And if you catch one, you can still catch another.
Yeah.
You can't catch the same one twice, I guess.
Well, you can.
Oh,
There's
you
one of
can?
them, and you can get it, and it's worse the second time.
Oh.
So that's why that's one of the reasons why there's a vaccine for people who've had it once. It's like the chickenpox shingles thing, right? Where if you get chickenpox the second time and it's shingles, it's much, much worse.
Okay.
So the second time, apparently, like your eyes can bleed and stuff. It's a real, yeah, no joke.
Well, I heard
So-
that you get bone fever or something.
Yeah,
like
you can
that.
get really, it can be really bad. So I'm talking myself into going and getting that vaccine right now.
Let's all go together.
Yeah, and then the last one was I had a surgery. So I had a knee surgery. I completely shredded my meniscus, and I had knee surgery at Franco Viet Hospital. That time I did use my insurance claim. It was great. It was still only $1,300 US total. The other thing, and that's for everything. It's for the MRI, it's for the appointments, and it was fantastic. It was less than 7 days from like admitted in ER to completing my day surgery. Great experience. Everyone spoke English at the Franco Viet Hospital, even though it's French. You know, American educated Viet Q doctor, knee specialist. You know, all the best tech, best equipment. The only issue was actually I had a pain in the ass chasing down my insurance company to get the half of the money back that they were supposed to pay. I won't name which. You know, it's a big insurance company. Everybody knows that. I won't shun them on camera.
Roast them.
How about I just say this? I am a Safety Wing affiliate, so if you're just coming over for 4 to 6 weeks, get Safety Wing at first, then I would say maybe go local. Like now, I would suggest once you're living here doing Bao Viet, which is the local one, but you can get it as long as you have a bank account, address, visa. Okay, yeah, that was a long-winded story, more than I thought I'd go into. What's your experience? Healthcare, doctors, etc.?
Yeah, I have none of that, so it's kind of crazy because you guys talk about that, and I guess I've just been lucky. I've never broken a bone in my life. I've never been like any crazy disease where I've been bleeding out of my eyes or nothing like that. So I guess I just get lucky, and I kind of like I notice other people. I think Travis, another YouTuber out here, and Sammy, I think they had some experiences where they kind of wait around, and when something happens, they pay out of pocket, and that's kind of my plan is when or if something happens, I'll just do it that way. It's cheap enough out here. And if the first time I ever ride in an ambulance and break a bone will be out here, then that'll be the first time. So
I would say too, a small pro tip, and it's in all my guides for anyone who joins the Cost of Living Abroad membership, is that each country has a different emergency number and a different, right? It's not just 911 out here, but there are different numbers for the hospitals.
you got the
and
113,
the clinics, and it's different everywhere. It's all in the guide I have to download. But yet to know wherever you go, to know what those numbers are, and to know the closest hospital, the closest place, because it's often even with an ambulance, you have to call that hospital's ambulance. It's not just like a broad public ambulance service, right? It's like for Franco Viet in Saigon, they got a number you can call, and it's an ambulance that will take you to that hospital, right? And they'll go anywhere in the city to get you. But it's not just like your standard 911 public service.
I pay out of pocket.
Yeah.
I broke these two fingers right at the base here back when I was in the Philippines getting my passport renewed. And
You didn't pay him, and they
The stamp guy talks bad to
yeah,
JJ.
exactly. I owed a debt. No, I fell. You know, the sidewalks. You've never been there, right?
No.
That sidewalks in the Philippines it's an adventure. Yeah, here too. But I tripped and fell, and I landed on my hand, and the weight of my body bent these fingers back.
Oof.
Broke both these fingers. So I went to a clinic, and they X-rayed it, and then the doctor that was there looked at it and says, "Yeah, you broke these two fingers. You go to this orthopedic surgeon at St. Luke's Hospital, which is the best hospital in the Philippines." So I went there I actually walked to this clinic. I'm in pain. She goes, "What's your pain threshold?" I go, "It's like a." She goes, "Between 1 and 10." I go, "It's like a 6." And she goes, "Really?" I go, "Yeah." It hurt really bad for like the first 30 minutes. Then it just, I bumped it and it hurt really bad. But anyway, so the X-ray and her consultation cost me maybe 1,500 pesos, which is like $30.
Right.
And then the orthopedic surgeon, where he set it and put the cast on, or the splint on, that was 7,000. So about,
I'll put up a graphic.
yeah, about $140.
$140.
So $160, $170 total for everything. So he's like paid out of pocket. I mean, I'm not going to bother with insurance.
What?
So if I have something catastrophic happens, I have insurance that'll cover that. And then if I have to fly back home for an emergency with that, medical emergency.
Coding Travel Bug, a guy who lives in Jomtien and then comes here sometimes, but he had the same thing, right? He has got a catastrophic in case basically his heart or cancer ever happens and he needs to go home.
Right.
But other than that, anything, including motorcycle accidents, whatever, and he's been living in Asia for 30 years, he's paying out of pocket. So what about dental? My dentist here is amazing, set up by a former American military guy. We'll give him a non-sponsored pitch. East West Dental. They have locations in Da Nang and across. It was set up as a great program where Americans came in and trained Viets on how to do it. Cost $3 or $4 to get my kids' teeth cleaned, to get cavities fixed. I think my wife's bridge, is that what it's called, a bridge? Crowns? Bridging and crowns. She's had everything. It's like $40.
Wow.
Yeah, like literally like $40 is the most we ever pay, is like maybe $2 million. She had Invisalign once, that cost a few thousand, but I think that's a foreign thing and you can't, I don't think you can get a deal on it.
Yeah. I chipped a tooth. And so I went to a dentist, and this one in Manila, and I got a cap or a crown or whatever they call it, and then a teeth cleaning, and the whole thing cost like just over $100 for everything.
Yeah.
And it's like in the U.S., it's like you can't get your teeth cleaned for $100.
No, of course not.
I mean, unless you have insurance, but you're paying, I don't know what the copays are anymore, but they're high.
Fair?
I've never done any hospital, dentist. I'm
making Will an appointment at East West.
No.
I'm making Will an appointment at East West.
Living-
And I'll say to anyone watching too, I haven't done a direct pitch for the Move to Vietnam course yet, but I should. I have a Move to Vietnam course at 60 minutes, linked in the description, answers all the sort of basic, frequently asked questions, the 8 topics we've gone over today. And if you get one of those, you can also send me an email. You can get set up with an education visa here. Same thing, it's a year, it's about $1,000 to $1,200 in Da Nang or elsewhere in Vietnam. So we'll just bust that myth that there's no way to get a long-term visa. Before we get into our final wrap, where's the best place to retire in 2025? Thailand, Vietnam, or the Philippines? Maybe just a brief pro-con from each of us for each of the 3 places, and then pass the mic.
Okay. That's going to be dependent. The best place is going to be dependent on the person, because technically the hardest place for official retirement is going to be Vietnam. That's obviously going to be the case. The Philippines is a lot easier in the sense of you could stay a long time. You could stay up to 3 years without ever flying out of the country. Thailand offers you the retirement visa, the education visa, and the DTV visa. So like, if you're looking at it that way, it kind of rules out Vietnam in that sense. But if you're willing to do the visa runs, whether the bus or the flight, I'm actually going to do the flight next month. So my next visa run is not going to be on the bus. So you guys will see me go to the Philippines, which my wallet's already screaming because I already know the big price difference. I'm used to Vietnam's prices, and we're going to go back to the Philippines. So we'll see the cost comparison there. But then it just boils down. So I can never be convinced that Da Nang is not the best bang for your buck value city. Now, you're not going to get, like JJ's talking about, on his building, he's got a pool, he's got a spa, he's got the restaurant style dinner place that he has inside. You're not going to get that in Vietnam, especially in Da Nang, but you are going to get things like a bigger apartment. Like I have a 65 square meter apartment. I don't really think you're going to get a 65, 70 square meter apartment in Bangkok for the price that you can get out here. Yeah, but you're not going to get a pool. You're not going to get a spa. You're not going to get the gym inside the Da Nang condo, but you're going to get the bigger place. You're going to get the cheaper place, and it probably won't be as modern and luxurious as the Thailand Bangkok spots. So you got to determine, do I want to save the money? Do I want to keep the money aspect of it? Or do I want the luxury side? I kind of think of Vietnam as the less luxurious version of Vietnam. Or I'm sorry, I kind of think of Vietnam as the less luxurious version of Thailand. And then the Philippines is kind of a option where it's kind of an older American guy or an older Western guy that wants to date younger women, or at least find a woman that speaks English. That's probably going to be the better place for them. And then they don't have to say like, hey, you know what? When I go down to the Highlands or the Starbucks, I can't understand anybody, because English is going to have a lot of every place is going to have a lot of English in the Philippines. And then you don't have to do bus runs. You don't have to do the flight visa runs, because you could stay there for 3 years and then you fly out and then you can come right back and do another 3 years. You don't even have to get on a retirement visa there. So there's different priorities for different people. Everyone doesn't fit the same mold. But for myself, someone that doesn't mind using Google Translate, doesn't mind getting on the bus or flying to the Philippines every 90 days, then for me, everyday life can't be beat in Da Nang, Vietnam as of now, because there's just great cost of living, great food. I get so much better safety, I think, here than Bangkok or the Philippines. I live in a city that has an international airport that has a beach. Bangkok doesn't have the beach. The Philippines, you got to kind of go to a lot of province cities to find the beach. So for me, Da Nang is just my perfect checkbox requirement. So that's my take on it, at least.
Let's hear from JJ.
What he said. I don't know how to add to that. If you want to, ease of dating, English language, length of stay on a tourist visa, Philippines is your number one choice. If you want to retire in the Philippines, if you're an ex-military or veteran, super cheap to retire in the Philippines. $1,500 for an SRRV retirement visa. Yeah. If you're not a veteran, they jack that cost up to like $30,000 or $40,000 deposit now.
Yeah, I saw that.
30.
And they're going to like lower the age requirement to 40, because I was looking at it. But with the lowered age requirement, the deposit is going to be higher.
Up, yeah. So
50,000
if
US.
you want great infrastructure, ease of transportation, amazing food choices, both Western and local and Asian, and a lower cost of living than the Philippines, Thailand's your choice. Bangkok. If you love the beach and you love a very inexpensive lifestyle, Da Nang. I mean, Da Nang's my second favorite city in Southeast Asia, next to Bangkok.
It's so funny. Like, I am retired. People seem to think I'm not, because I don't have a retirement visa. I have a spousal visa. And they don't understand that the way to retire is to leave your career and stop working.
Right.
But I tick all the boxes. You know, it wasn't even necessarily intentional. And so in the value sense, I mean, I'm literally retired 10 years early because I'm in Vietnam.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
So in that sense, I don't know how I could actually say somewhere else, Because if I lived in Bangkok, I wouldn't be retired, right? If I lived in the Philippines, I don't think I'd be retired. I'm retired because the affordability cost of living in Vietnam basically meant my net worth exploded when I lived here for 5 years. And, you know, my investments and stuff back home started compounding, and, you know, it was a good run. It was also a good run of years and yada, yada, yada. And then I started making a second income. Well, I also started making a second income because I had way more time, because things are more affordable, right? And like, what's the value of that? So it's really hard for me to say anywhere other than Vietnam. And we actively chose Da Nang because it's more affordable than Saigon. You know, like my wife, we have a condo, and its rent cost is higher than a house here, but it has all those amenities you talked about, right? It's got the pool, it's got the shop, it's got the gym, it's got the salon, everything is right there, not even in ground level, right? It's like at one of those multi-level things where it has a whole little park and a play area for the kids and everything within the building, self-contained. And you can't get that yet in Da Nang, and that's probably why Da Nang's so much more. If I was single though, and money was no option, or maybe how about this? If I was just not, is lazy the right word? If I just wanted the easiest thing, like as an American, if I'm looking for the easiest first spot landing retirement, everything I've heard would tell me the Philippines, right?
I think that's a good soft landing.
Yeah, like it's your softest landing. It's like your first, like, I'm getting straight off of a plane and I don't want to just freak out and turn around and go back home.
Right.
Philippines sounds like that. You're going to be able to talk to people. You're going to be able to sit in a bar and watch American sports and chat with the girl or the guy next to you in English and like have that experience. That's pretty cool. Like, that's priceless, right?
Yeah,
like,
that's a very good soft landing in BGC or Makati or Cebu. You're going to find that it's more westernized. You got the Western amenities, Western restaurants, so it's going to be easier transition for you. And then people speak English for the most part.
I'm going to put in one little wild card, which we didn't talk about at all. Maybe I'll have a video or interview a guy who lives there. I'll post that interview over my left. No fucking limit. If I was to spend $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, I'd live in Koh Samui. Fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
It's stunning. It's beautiful. The villas are insane. It's got everything. Right. And what you'd get for $5,000 in Florida, or even in Mexico where I used to live, versus what you get in Samui, I still think like the level of like just pure like luxury, like I'm putting my feet up, I'm a baller, I'm getting whatever I want for the rest of my life. Yeah. You don't have to speak anything but English in Koh Samui. It's easy. It's all there. You can get a car. You can drive around. You drive to the grocery store. You can drive to your villa. You can drive to the pool. You can drive, like I do think, in that sense, right? If you're just like, whatever, you're on a $5,000 US a month pension, you're easily going to qualify for the Thai retirement visa if you have that kind of money.
Right. Yeah.
Visa's not going to be an issue. Language isn't going to be an issue. Money's not an issue.
If I had FU money, Koh Samui or something along those lines sounds enticing, but here's the thing. I lived in Fort Collins, Colorado for a few years, right in the foothills of the Rockies. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Walk outside my door in the morning and you can see the mountains. It's just the most beautiful thing. And but after a while, it's an everyday sight. And so with me, it's like living, even here in Da Nang, the beach is beautiful, the ocean's beautiful. But after like 2.5 months, it's like, I'm not going to go to the beach. I've been there yesterday, It gets to be a habit. So if I had FU money, I would have a really nice place in Bangkok and a place in Koh Samui.
Okay.
Go there on vacation.
That deserves a round of applause for JJ. Now is probably a good time to mention that there is an affiliate link below for Christian Filipina, and I highly recommend using that service if you're looking to date someone with similar faith or commitment ideals to yourself. Okay, so like I said before, right over top of JJ's face, there's going to be a video called If Not to Retire in Thailand, Where to Retire in 2025. And then over my left shoulder, I will post the interview about Koh Samui. You can find JJ at JJ the Lonely Bull in Asia. His channel will also be linked right there. And you can find Will at Will Travels.